Hello, I'm Priscilla, the course director at Transform IS Academy. So today's purpose is to give you all a little more cautious and informations before you head to your examination, which is due on May 28, 2023. That's your preliminary examination. I know that most of y'all would be under pressure, a lot of self-doubt, low in confidence. These are many haunted things which would be surrounding us. Despite all of that, here you are to do up with your UPSC and you have to clear and get into the position. For that, what is more important is to have a proper mindset. To have the proper mindset, here I'm going to help you with few little tips which can help you or which you're aware, or it can be a kind of a tip which I'm trying to shaken up with you and try to give this tip at the right time. Sometimes we have so much of pressure, whatever we know, the simplest things also we might find it quite difficult, or we don't get it at the right time. So that's the only reason, the purpose behind this particular video, to help you all out in a proper way, to ensure that the mistakes which might happen, or I'm giving a reminder so that you can get rid of it or you can escape out of it. So having said that, the first such thing which you have to keep in your mind would be your examination pre-preparations. So what is your pre-preparations before your 28th? First and foremost, as I said, be very calm, keep yourself very much potented, don't have too many thoughts into your head. Try to keep a very calm and a blank mind, because all these months you have really worked hard for this particular moment. Just because of stress and high pressure and anxiety, don't try to spoil them. Just try to keep it in the way they are. Try to be yourself very calm. That is going to help you the rest of the day that you're going to spend on your preliminary, that is on your 28th. So the first thing, as said, you have to ensure that you have your all tickets downloaded, first thing. Second important thing is that your black ballpoint pen. It should be a ballpoint, no ink, no jet pens, no gel pens, nothing. It should be a ballpoint pen. Just ensure, try to hold 2 to 3 so that if one gives you a heart also, you will be able to make up with another one. That's the whole idea. The third important thing is that you need to carry your particular kind of an ID proof that you have uploaded at the time of your examination. So try to hold that particular original copy. Don't take any Xerox. If you hold it also, it should be just as a substitute, but original ID proof is what you need to carry. That should be taken in mind. And also carry 2 passport size photos, the recent photos, because sometimes ours would be quite older, or some unknown facts might come up, or factors can start triggering us. Just to avoid all these confusions, just try to take this and put it in a pouch, and ensure that the pouch should be transparent. In certain centers, they are very keenful about having a transparent pouch. If at all, they have to allow you inside the room. Otherwise, they will just end up giving you the permission with any of that particular pouch you carry. That can be taken care. Second important thing, check for the location. You have to be a day before, or whenever you see before your examination, have an idea about where is your location, where is your particular center, how many hours and what's the duration span of it. Just be aware of that. Third importantly, most of the people, let's say for a center matter itself, there would be like the same college with degree as well as with a PU college. Sometimes you might land up somewhere in PU where you have the center in degree, or you land up at degree where you have the center in PU. So these kinds of confusions are something which practically happens. To avoid this last minute stress and tension, it's always better you go beforehand, and you will be able to know better about that particular place. That is the most important thing that you have to do before your examinations. So now at the day of your examination, what are the things that you have to do? First and foremost, at the day of your examination, just check to whatever I told you, you have kept it right. And also carry a water bottle, because don't spend your money or your energy or your health by drinking some of the water which you're not suited with. Just ensure you carry one. Second important thing is that you have to be half an hour before the exam. 9:30 is your paper. Some particular centers, they take at 9 itself. They take you inside at 9:15, which means that it's ideally fine if you are around like 8:45 or even 8:30, well and good. So if you've been so early, a lot of things which can accumulate or create a tension to you, you're already half crossed. So this half crossed will give you a lot of energy and a boost into you, so that you will not be having unnecessary stress. This unnecessary stress, the time you avoid, you have your mind prepared to get into your examination. So once you are into your examination, there comes the time where you have to, it's your battlefield, because that is what you've been waiting for all these 1 year, and you've been preparing, you're putting your hard work into it. Now this is the time where you have to keep yourself very calm and composed. So here, when they give you with the OMR sheets and your question papers, don't be in a hurry. Take a slow pace, 5-10 minutes, give time to just go through what kind of questions from what journals, from which particular subjects, what is your understanding about the question. Just in 10 minutes, skim it up. But after that, ensure that whichever you know, just give a clear shot. The time you give a clear shot, you need to be 100% sure that yes, I am sure about this particular answer. Approximately out of 100 questions, if you are that sincere and religious candidate, you can have the right answer around 35 to 40 decently. So even in a tougher basis also, 35-40 will be the max to max that any candidate can get it right 100%. But there are certain questions where you might be like first option, second option you might be aware, the third option is where it might be catching you. So those kind of questions, you will have a rough work paper which will be behind your question paper. There you can just make a note of that particular number, so that you will stop dragging the papers at the end of your session. So that confusion, to avoid it, whichever you are sure, 75% yes, I am sure if I give an attempt I'm going to get the marks on it, that one I want you to just make a note in that rough paper or the rough work, whatever they've given you. Just make a note there. Once you're done with the first set of 100 questions, when you go reverse wise, whatever is there pending, just try to attempt them. So that would be more important. So meanwhile, there would be another procedure that they would be following, that they would be asking you to put your signatures and all of that. Don't get stressed up, because that's the purpose there. So that is what they have been doing. So whenever they come, just ensure that you give it in a calm basis. Don't get irritated. They're going to get, they're going to confuse you, or they're going to trouble you, or they're going to intervene in your exam. That shouldn't come into your mind. This is the purpose. When you give the signature there, that's when your paper is going to be more 100% right. So certain things which has to be done, it has to be done. Don't get stressed and kind of irritated for all the simple things. And check for your center code, your paper code, and also with your name, your registration numbers. All of that has to be very clear. Don't try to make mistakes. If possibly, first just make a note in a pencil in a slighter manner. Once you're confirmed at least 2 to 3 times, then you can just put that into your pen. You can use it and you can bolt it up them over the time. But at the same time, don't make any mistakes. So your OMR sheets are again extremely important. Don't tend to make many mistakes in that you have to take it. So we have done 2 things. One, I told you, like what could be the intervene might happen at the time of your papers when you're attempting. People, they come, they want your signature, and it has to be done. So there's no go on that. Second important thing was with regard to how to go about the 100 questions. Third important thing, which I wanted to keep it very, very precise and very particular about it, is your bubbling your answers. So most of the students, what they do is that they just bubble all the 100 questions which is there in the question paper, and the last 10-15 minutes they tend to bubble on that particular OMR sheet. That's a very bad strategy to what anyone can do. So you're not supposed to end up doing like this, because this will actually create a lot of stress. If one number goes miss also, there would be a huge kind of a mistake, or you will be losing out your entire year. That start costing your year. So you have to be a little careful there. As I told you, the clear short questions, whichever you know, it's better you mark it then and there itself. So that again, if you go for the second round, which is again usually the one which to be taken into considerations, which will give you a 75% of your luck in terms of the marks which can be given as a right answer, that you can start ticking, bubbling them. That can be done. But don't keep it for last, because the last 10 minutes would be the high pressure zone. So that will create a lot of pressure to you all. So just try avoid this as well. Simultaneously you'll do it. That would be more than sufficient. And now comes the point is like how many questions should one attempt to clear the papers. So if you see the recent few years, what UPSC has done, the cutoff is going way lesser. This time it was just around 84. So taking all that into consideration, the average would be between 94 to 95. If we take that into consideration also, the least of the least, I can tell you the probability would be like 47 to 65. In case it's a very bad paper, you would not be able to take a risk, you'd have no idea, the least can be 47. But if you really want to be into the race and you wanted to ensure that I can trust on my guts, I have some knowledge, I do have a background about the question, then decently go up to 65 to 75. That would be a very decent number. Otherwise also, I personally recommend anything above 80 would be something which is like, after all our calculations, equations and all of that, that can again help you out. So again, you have to first check the paper to have a calculations of whether should you attempt 50, whether you should attempt 65 or 80. That comes only when you see the paper and understanding the difficulty of the paper, and at the same time whether the paper was easier enough and how much you know based on this calculation, because this pattern keeps changing student to student. So not every candidate is same. They have their own way of understanding the preparations, gut feeling, the mock tests that they've taken. Everything comes as a help out here. So that's something that you have to keep in mind and ensure a decent number, a standard average number, 65 to 70. But I always prefer above 80 would be a good number. Even after all your equations, somewhere will be closest and you will be having a high chances and a probability to clear your preliminary as well. So that to be taken care. And fourthly, which I have to be mentioned this in the first part of the video itself, but nevertheless I'm just letting you all know now, one and the most important thing that I want you all to do at the day of your examination is avoid discussions. Discussions before your paper 1, discussions after your paper 1. These are the two stages which can really mess up your paper 1 as well as your paper 2. Paper 1, don't try to talk to anyone, don't do any last minute preparation, don't have any confusions in your mind, just keep it to the point. You're there to write your examination, go write your exam and come back with your first paper 9:30 to 11:30. Once you're back at 11:30 up to 12 o'clock or take your time, just brush up what's there. That's it. Again, don't get into confusion. Don't take your mobiles and start looking out for the institutes which starts giving you the answers. That will really cost you in your paper 2, which I don't want it to happen. So which means that I'm very clearly saying paper 1 and before and after, the discussions has to be completely avoided, better for you. So that's when you can get the full potential of yourself with unwanted stress coming and haunting you. You can actually avoid it. Really helps because I've been into that. I know how much important is that you don't have any discussions at the last. And I've been a student who have never done any discussions before and after. I'm been composed to myself and it's really healed me up well in all my preliminary. So taking that into consideration is what I'm telling you all. Don't try to get too many things in the last minute. That will actually not look good and it's not a right thing to be doing as well. So that you can take care. And coming back with regard to your paper 1, once that's done, just as I said, just brush up. When it comes to your paper 2, I just want you all to be again giving a decent time just for a revision, or you have some calculations done for your CSAT math part, just do that. But apart from that, most of it for paper 2, what is required is a calm mind. So have a light snack, or you can have a light kind of a fruits, anything which is lighter. Don't have anything which is very heavier, because again that might lead into something else which you're not expected of. So that can also be something which you have to encounter. Just try to avoid that. So have a decent meal for the afternoon and just try to relax as much as possible. That's the only thing which is going to help you, because all this 1 year what you have not done, you're not going to do in that 3 hours. So what you will be doing is just messing it up. So what any intelligent and smart person would do is he will avoid the mess up. So that's exactly is what I'm asking you to do, is that avoid mess up as much as possible. Try to be what you are and be in the limits of what you have to do, and don't get carried away with something else, or someone come and intervening you, or you tending to explain or talk to them, or trying to grab some information about the paper 1 or something else for that matter. Just avoid all of that. So these are something which I recommend not to do at all until you finish your paper 2 and come out of it. So once you're done with your all these things, whichever I've told you, the basic stuffs, aram se go to your paper 2. When it comes to paper 2 is a time consumption, because you will never know how this 2 hours actually went. It will be like so faster because you will be involved into that particular paper. GS1 will give you a breathing time, but trust me, GS2 will not give you a breathing time. CSAT will never do that. So you have to be very conscious about your time. If any of the question of your math is really taking your time, just ensure that you skip off that, right? So that would be like 2.5 marks or something. Rather go for certain kinds of a single question with 4 questions, sub questions which has in it, so that you, let's say you give a proper attempt to it and you have like 5 questions, almost you get 10 marks there. So that is something that you have to calculate it. So these are certain things that you have to do it. So you have to just ensure certain things which will help you out in terms of having a proper understanding about the CSAT, and you see which is your strength, whether comprehensive is your strength or whether the math or general mental abilities. Just see which, and accordingly, as you know that you have to just get around 66% to get that work so much. So for that, again, you have to have a decent number of the count or the attempt that you should have done. Try to give that decent attempt and you will be done. So again, for this, not much tension, or you don't have to put yourself with lot of pressure, because already we are into a lot of pressure with lot many things which is undergoing. Let's not create our own pressure and spoil the day that you're being prepared for the last 1 year. This one day is what is going to give you the results for, because this 1 year of your hard work is where you have to show just in 4 hours. So how important is that 4 hours to me? How well I have to be prepared for that particular 4 hours? What are the errors which I can come across, where I can stop those errors, I can rectify my problems, I can forecast them and avoid these things. Because if you're not doing it, you are here to write for the most prestigious exam. You should learn to do all of that and avoid things which can stress you out and actually drag you or pull you behind. Anything which pulls you behind, which means that it's not the right thing to be done, just focus on these things. These are certain common mistakes which anyone does at the time of their examination. This is what I've tried to highlight here. But apart from that, you know better from your end, like what is your life and what are the problems that you have, what can come as a problem, where you are standing. Are you that strong person? Are you a person with a wavering mind and all of that? Just try to rectify yourself. Whatever you think I can mess up with, try to avoid all of that. That is more important. Knowing you better is more important than anything else. So this examination is not about how much knowledge you have, it's about how you execute your knowledge, how you utilize that without messing up or with the right presence of mind. If this is the way it's going to tackle me or going to spoil me, how can I avoid that? These are the things that you have to keep in your mind. Keep it very calm, simple, composed, that's it. Apart from that, nothing else UPSC requires from you. And moreover, if you want to mess it up in yourself, many do it, but you be that one person who will not be into that. Because this is a competitive exam, keep it in mind again. The one mistake what you do, it's going to benefit the other. Basically, you're giving space for the other to charm or for the others to shine. So you see where you can shine. These are the basic things. Competitive exams have their own protocol to be done, or they have their own limits. Just follow those limits and I think you'll be able to do better in your preliminary exam. So I think I've covered up as much as possible with regard to your preliminary examination. So this was all about your UPSC tips that I wanted to give you all or remind you all before your examination. And let's say if you have few more things which is there or you wanted to get it done faster, put just a checklist, and with that checklist try to just cover all the things which has been pending so that you'll be all ready for your examination. Nothing to be worried, be calm, be stronger, and that will help you to clear your papers. So calm mind will win the world. That is more important. So the rough mind or confused mind will never lead anywhere or will not give you any success. So you don't be that person, right? So that's it with regard to the preliminary, and I wish you all all the best for your examination. Do better. You can do it because you have been preparing for this exam for the past 1 year and you are there for the battle today. That's on your 28th. So don't worry, you can do it, you will do it. All the very best. Thank you all.